What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Black and Gold. This is Hibruination. Woo! The unofficial home of your now 4-4-1 Boston Bruins. Oh man. Well, guys, as always, I'm joined down here, by my co-host Matt in Studio V.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah. Oof, buddy. Oof. What a week, huh?
Yeah, that sucked, huh?
Oh, what we went? Oh, no, we were 1-2, right? Yeah, 1-2. Well, I mean, the good news is we cleared that board, right? I think it was you and I that kind of predicted those two losses to Nashville and to Dallas.
And we beat the Leafs.
And we beat the Leafs. We own their fucking number.
Yeah, so if there's going to be a win out of a real shitty week, it's got to be that one.
Yeah, so I mean, not a ton of positives. I mean, there's one positive out of three, right? And then with two negatives. Before we get started, obviously, as Bruins fans know, we had some news over the last couple of days where Riley Tufte was sent down to Providence in the hopes of clearing cap space. That has since been successful. He has been assigned to Providence. There is no news on who exactly is going to replace him, whether that be in the form of Lysell or Tyler Johnson. Yes, Vogel.
It's that one. It's Tyler Johnson. I think that they're finally going to make that move. Not official, unless when this comes out, it's official by then. But I can almost. I mean, who else? I feel like Lysell hasn't. I mean, I don't know how he's been in the AHL. I haven't really been keeping up with him as of late. But Tyler Johnson's been hanging around for the past couple of weeks. I'm assuming under the impression he knows he's going to get a contract. Maybe this was the move they need to free up that cap space and finally get him a roster spot. It seems like that's what's happening. And who knows? By the time this comes out, it might have already happened. What do you think? You think it's a Lysell move? You're a big Lysell guy.
I don't think so. I mean, I think Billy talked with us a couple of weeks ago, right? And he said it's not just to kind of get him up there to test him out. It'd be to move in, kind of hopefully keep him up there. I mean, you still got Max Jones kind of like in the wings there. So maybe if they feel like he would be better, they might try to move Max Jones or bury him and take a little bit of a buried penalty for that. It all depends on what Tyler Johnson garners in terms of a contract. I don't think it is Lysell, though. I mean, he has some penalties down in Providence. I think he's about a point per game player. So I think he's doing the right things outside of taking the penalties, but I don't think they're convincing that he's convincing upper management yet. But I'd like to see him up here at some point. I think they need to do that. But yeah, I think it's Tyler Johnson, just a matter of how much money.
Where do you see, hypothetically, if that's what's happening, where do you see, and the lines have been put in a blender this past week, as we know Montgomery's, known for. Where do you think that Johnson slides in? Do you think it's that second line wing spot? Do you think he's on the third line? They bump up somebody else? Where do you think initially? Where are they going to slot him?
I think you're going to have him on the third line. I think it'll be Trent, Johnson, and probably Geeky, and then you're going to see Poitras on the second line with Marchand and Coyle. I think that's been kind of the plan, because then you have at least two centers on each line. If you look at the first line, there's Zacha, Lindholm, and then on the second line, there would be Coyle and Poitras. Then the third line, you would have Johnson and Geeky and Frederick, all three of them actually. And then on the bottom line, you would have, Beecher, Cass, and Kostelik. I believe Kepke also plays on the center spot, but I'm not 100% positive. So I think it would be Johnson's best suited right now at the third line. Middle.
I was surprised to see. I think it was the Maple Leafs game. Initially, I think to start the game, he had the fourth line had been broken up, which I get. You need a lot of spark under the team, and you got to move some guys around. But I was surprised to break those guys up, considering how they've been playing.
Well, look what happened when they got put back together, right? They go and score a goal.
That's right? What I mean. So why in the first place break it up? I mean, if you're just trying to light a fire under everybody's ass, maybe move some guys around. But if anything, I would think the line that's really solidified themselves that should stay together was that fourth one. But what do I know?
I think the third line looked good last night too. I mean, I didn't get to watch much of the game, or if anything at all, but just seeing how this game was. Brazeau gets another goal, last night, but I think maybe there's some of the players are starting to wake up. I mean, Marchand, Potts one, Pasternak got one. I think You kind of saw, what they could be, right? But it's all about that consistency piece, right? So, take it with what you will.
I did like that. I think it was starting the week off, putting Marchand on that first line. Like I believe it was either last week or the week before. I forget. We had a fan voice memo, suggesting, when we get to see that, and then boom, right off the bat, Marchand gets moved with the first line. I don't know. I don't think that it turned out the way fans or coaches probably would have anticipated. Kind of making that somewhat comparison of Lindholm to Bergeron, maybe expecting that perfection line chemistry again, but with the way the team's been starting, it was far from that.
I think it goes back because I said that, right? I said that last week where it's a line that I'd like to see what it would look like, but I think as fans and of the sport, when you hear those comparisons, you start to garner expectations. And when you have those expectations, and if you spend like one or two games like it and it doesn't look like it, then you start to wonder, is Lindholm actually that guy, or is Marchand washed, or is Pasta washed, or something? You start thinking of questions that are not really applicable to the situation, because even though they're similar, I think Lindholm plays a bit more of a physical two-way game than Bergeron ever did. And his style, though similar, is very different. It's one of those situations.
I do,
And it didn't work out.
Yeah, we can get into it later when we get into the bear down player for the week. I was knocking around the idea of Marchand. I mean, and then I remember what Kyle said a couple weeks ago. Kyle's not with us this week. He'll be back, I think, 2 weeks from now. But after the surgeries, is Marchand is he gonna come back and be the player that everyone expects him to be, or is this the new 63 that we're seeing going forward? Is he not going to live up to that potential that he had for the most of his career?
We also have to think, just briefly to touch upon that, I think we also have to think of this in a manner of that. So Marchand didn't have the appropriate ramp up time to recover from those injuries, like into game action. So he might not be at full capacity. Like, he's obviously going to play, but he's not going to be truly 100% until maybe December. January, where you're going to start to see him kind of go off. Last night, I thought he's still moving his hips well. I think he's still trying to retrieve the puck well. I think he's working on some stuff just to kind of get ramped up, and he has to ramp up quick.
Yeah. And I hope he does. I would love to see him get back to the player that he was and has been, but I don't know, ever since he said that, it's in the back of my mind, what if he's not?
Exactly. Yeah, no, and that'll be a concern. All right, let's talk about the previous week. That left the Bruins. Yeah, we have to. It wasn't the greatest week. I mean, your Boston Bruins went 1-2. We had a horrible loss to. I mean, I'm actually going to say it. I think it was a scheduled loss, that proverbial term that's thrown around against the Nashville on Tuesday against the Nashville Predators. We lost 4-0. And Nashville was 0-5-0 to start the season, and so they became 1-5-0 after that win against the Bruins. You had to figure that they were much more hungry than the Bruins that game, and I just didn't feel like the Bruins, matched that intensity.
Yeah, I mean, we said that last week too. When we were going through the week ahead. The way the Bruins have been playing, it's been slow. It's been down. It's not Boston hockey the way they've been playing. And we said before, Nashville's going to be desperate. And they're going to come out flying, and you have to play with them. You have to stay with them, and obviously, they did not.
Yeah, no, it was a problem. And I mean, they also it was too easy. They let people walk in on Swayman way too easily, I think, and it was kind of that also carried over into the Dallas game where the Bruins defense just let them go too easily into Swayman. Too many clear slot chances. It just wasn't a good two defensive games, being in the Nashville and the Dallas game. I just didn't think that was where the defense shined. And I don't want to say they left Swayman out to dry, but they didn't, help him in any capacity either.
This is one of those weeks too, and I think we talked about it off the record, but Swayman kept them in these games. I mean, if he didn't play the way he did, I mean, where are you? And I wouldn't say they left him out to dry, but they didn't do him any favors.
Yeah, I agree.
Who knows what the scores would have been?
Yeah, I mean, there was some people
worse than they were.
Yeah, worse than they were. If Korpisalo was in net, I think I would have turned the TV off after the first period. But that's also not fair to Korpisalo too, because then I don't think he's as of a caliber as much of a caliber goaltender as Jeremy Swayman, but he's also not an awful goaltender. Like he'll make some saves, but if the defense or no team is going to play in front of a guy like him, then those scores could have been significantly worse.
I'm surprised at least the Nashville game. I'm surprised that Korpisalo wasn't playing, knowing how the team has played on this road trip, knowing you have to come home, play the Stars, one of the best teams in the league, and the Maple Leafs, who are it's always a battle, and you get them back at home. I mean, I was shocked to hear that Swayman was playing, and maybe it was because the Frozen Frenzy was on, and they knew it would be a national game, and they wanted to look a little better. But I don't know. I was surprised that Swayman got the nod, but. He got paid to be. He got paid to take all these starts. So, throw him in there.
I mean, I think he's earned the starts too. You know what I mean? I was surprised. Yeah. I thought that Swayman would have started one of these 3 games. I'm sorry. Korpisalo would have started one of these 3 games. Maybe again. I didn't think it was going to be against Toronto, but I was thinking either he was going to get Nashville or Dallas, one of those 2. I mean, they started Casey DeSmith and the game against Dallas. And I was like, oh, well, Korpisalo might play that too because it's DeSmith, the 2 backups, right? And I guess, Boston maybe felt that they needed more of a win out of that situation. And then, they rided with Swayman. I mean, I wouldn't say they're in a dire situation, right? They're 4-4-1. Like,
I know this was a big week. You got to keep telling yourself it's still early. Like you can't, there's so much hockey left to play. You can't overreact. I had to catch myself a couple of times because, first half of the week, I'm like, we're fucking done. We're toast. Like, there's no coming back.
Stuck. This team sucks. We're terrible.
And then the Saturday game, I think Brazeau scored, who I was so down on last week. I was like, we're back. We're back. We're winning the cup. The cup is back on. Like this team is fantastic.
I think I got a couple of those messages from you there, big guy.
Oh, sure you did.
Yeah. You were like very up and down. I think it was the Thursday game too. You were just like, dude, this team sucks. This is terrible. We scored. We're back. We're so fine. Yeah, we're okay. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
I'm very hot and cold.
Yeah. I was so confused. I'm just like, I'm trying to write this game recap as the game's going on, and you're just like, we're back. We suck. We suck. We're back. We're back. It was an emotional roller coaster that I was glad to be a part of with you, for both of those games. I mean, there really is, it was the same old story, different day though, right? For those 2 losses, not much to really discuss on them. It's just,
it was sloppy hockey, and I'm sick of. We're going to keep talking about it because it keeps happening, and I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of bringing it up. But the penalties, we're more penalties this week, more stupid penalties this week. A handful of them from your key players, the guys that you need to stay out of the box, and it's killing the team, and it's killing me.
That's probably the only thing we can continue to harp on. I mean, they're going to continue to find their game, right? But the discipline thing has been an absolute plague to Boston. They are the most penalized team in the NHL, but they also get the most calls for too. So it's kind of like, you can also be the best at something and the worst at something at the same time. But also your penalty kill has been, I guess, borderline sufficient. But it's kind of a hot and cold penalty kill, right? Where they have strong games where they're really hot, and then games where they're really not. Like, you know what I mean? They need to really kind of sit down and hash that out. Their power play is still abysmal. I mean, except for last night and maybe Dallas, they finally broke through on, I think, 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. And so, that's a positive right there that we can consider. But, harp. I can't stress enough harp on it. And Montgomery's even finished. He's yelling at them nonstop. Like, he's not sugarcoating it, which I love.
What did you think about Montgomery? The whole thing with Marchand on the bench.
Needed it. I said this several times. Look, he is a captain for a reason. He's an NHLer for a reason. He's a big boy for a reason. And even Marchand had said something with respect to that. It just goes, people are too soft nowadays. From what it seems, people can't handle something like that, but I can. And I think it was an accountability thing. And he just goes, Monty shouldn't get flack for that. He's doing his job. And I'm in agreement with Marchand.
I saw people, up in arms that he gave him, and we might have touched on this last week, but he gave him a little bit of a shove. And truthfully, I don't think it was that big of a deal. I really don't.
No. You're making $6 million. You got to be prepared to take some heat. You're the captain of the team. You got to be You're part of the leadership core. You have to be prepared to take some heat, especially if you screw up on something. And again, this was back in the Utah game when he caused that awful turnover that led to an eventual non-goal by Kyler Yamamoto. But it doesn't matter. You still got to be, whether that goal counted or not, it doesn't matter. That's still something that you kind of need to bring in, right? You need to rein it in and start being a leader. Apparently they had a team only meeting or a players only meeting either Friday or Saturday before the game against Toronto. And people were speculating that's awful because they were late to practice. I guess the practice was set to start.
I did see that. Yeah, the coaches were on the ice it was 11:30 practice. They were on at 11:35. The coaches and the team hadn't been out yet.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
something along those lines.
And I'm pretty sure the coaching staff was very well aware of what was going on. They're not.
Oh yeah. When stuff like that happens, behind closed doors, everyone knows about it. Everyone knows what's happening. Everyone knows why it's happening. Even fans do. If you hear after the start of the season, hey, before practice, they're already having players only meetings. It's yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, they need to figure it out.
You have to do something. Yeah. You have to do something. It starts in the room,
Mm-hmm. Especially when you hear that a teammate is being sent down to Providence because they're not cutting it. You know what I mean? It's a big question. Hey guys, guess what? We're home. Management's not messing around. They just sent down Riley for not playing well. Who else wants to go down? Who wants to play in the minors or who wants to stay here? It's also a big source of motivation. I think that was something that woke up the team. It's a way for the management to be you're not protected. Just because, you think that we won't call somebody up or because of any of your own opinions, we'll do exactly what what we need to do for the team. And it's a sign to say that nobody's protected here.
Yeah, I'm hoping with that happening and everything coming to light, how obviously they realize that they haven't been playing well or up to their potential, and with this win this past Saturday over Toronto, I hope that lights a fire under them. Where going forward, it's there's 3 games coming up this week. Again, I believe it's another Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, winnable games, very winnable games, and I hope that kind of maybe not the right term, but monkey off the back, and you can start playing Boston hockey again.
2 of the 3 games I'm going to tell you right now should be winnable games. There's no question in my mind. 2 of those 3 should be not easy wins for you, but they should be expected. Yeah. They're a struggling team, and we have 2 games against the Flyers. Those should be the W's. And no offense to Alex, who's our local Flyers fan, but your team is off to a rough start. Your goaltending is not great. Your defense hasn't played that well. But I'll say this: Matvei Michkov is a fucking stud. So he scares me. But I'm just getting off of a team.
We can get into that later. Let's not jump ahead.
But I'm sorry, I get anxiety. We're everywhere tonight. It's okay. Rick's not here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So we might be we're off the rails. We're off the rails.
He would have been on our team though about the fuck Toronto train.
Oh yeah, he would have. He also would have been on the train with the fuck the Flyers thing too, because he's playing. Montreal's playing them tonight as we speak. Cool. All right. Those are the 2 losses. Let's just touch quickly upon Toronto because it was a much needed win. It got the Boston Bruins to a 500 record. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I saw some of the highlights. I'm just going to briefly, comment upon what I saw and just say that they can't be leaving players like Austin Matthews wide open in front of the net. They can't be leaving players like Morgan Riley wide open across. You can argue maybe Swayman on Riley's goal should have, powered across better and saved it. But no, they're still having issues covering guys and leaving quality scoring chances open. That's my only gripe. I think the rest of you got a power play goal, and I think the Bruins that need to step up that game stepped up.
Yeah, that definitely you could tell right off the jump that they were playing to win, and I don't know if it was because of the losses in the past or it was a big rivalry, original 6 game. But right from the jump, you could tell they were playing faster. They were playing with more intensity. And like you said, it was a good win. It was an overtime win. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the overtime goal. It was
what a cough up.
Yeah, with Marchand and Pastrnak coming in, and I think Marchand got the goal, but they were kind of just Marchand took the initial shot, and the rebound was kind of floating over the goalie, and they both kind of swung at it, which Marchand got credit for, and I don't know if you watch the replay. It's tough to see. I mean, I'm sure if you look at it closely, it's obviously Marchand because he got it, but he needed that too. Marchand needed that too. He was searching for his first goal of the year, and what better time for it to come?
I saw him. I saw his reaction, dude. He was elate. He was beyond elated to have that, right? Like he was excited. It was like getting a chip off the shoulder, right? Like, you know what I mean? He definitely saw it coming, and I feel like it gave him a little bit of boost. Especially also it was a home game too, so he had the crowd behind him because I think the first goal he scored this season was not at home. So I feel like getting that little extra boost from the home crowd was probably something spectacular.
Who's that, Marchand?
Yeah.
That was his first goal of the year.
Oh, that was his first goal of the year. Oh my God. I thought he had scored one prior. Oh, well, so that's good. So that's the monkey off the back,
Wait,
the chip off the shoulder. And he did not. I don't think he did.
Second guessing myself now.
No, I don't think he did because I think he was close in Utah, but it just kind of went over. So that's on my fault. But again, huge chip off of his shoulder. Now we just need to get Coyle going. We need to get a couple other guys going. Brazeau now has 2 goals, and a couple of the guys need to get going as well. And we just need to see consistency.
Okay, yeah, that was his first goal. All right, I was worried.
Yeah. Okay. Good. No, next time
credibility is on the line here, Cam.
Okay, clearly. I mean, fuck my credibility, dude. Like
my credibility is on the line.
Mine's already out the window, buddy. I can't pronounce any players' last names. I'm already.
Yeah, you never could.
Yeah, I never could. That's fine. That's my problem. That's my demon. I will slay it eventually. I thought it was a good team win, though. I think that, like I said, the only gripe is like when I watched the highlight reels, I just saw like, man, just can you cover your guys? Like it was just painful. Like,
it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it was better and it's a step in the right direction. So
yeah,
again, this is one of those times, hot and cold. I'm riding it. We're back. Hopefully,
dude, it's okay. What did I say? We're going 82-0 this season. Well, we're gonna get a variation of that. We're gonna go 77-4-1.
Yeah, perfect.
So that's all I'm saying. That's
on pace for it.
We're on pace. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna lead us into this week's segments of the Big Bad Bruin and Bear Down Player of the Week. We're actually going to have 2 guests with us to kind of go over those topics today. They're local kids who play actually in a local league from where Vogel and I are from. Very close friends of the podcast and very close friends with their families. So we want to actually welcome into the first time on the pod, Jackson and Quinn. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
You can go first, Quinn.
All right. Hi, I'm Quinn.
That's good. All right, Jackson, why don't you go?
I'm Jackson.
All right. And I know you guys play youth hockey here pretty locally, so we also want to thank you guys for sharing your support of the channel and listening to us frequently. We definitely appreciate that out of you guys, and also for your parents who also show support towards us in many other ways. So for you guys, I think you guys know very well what this segment is. So Vogel and I are going to go first, and we'll get you guys kind of involved. We're going to actually start with our Big Bad Bruin of the Week, and we lost one. We'll start with our Big Bad Bruin of the Week. Vogel, why don't you start with yours, and then I will go with mine.
This week was tough.
Sorry, my thing glitched out.
That's fine.
Yeah, this week was tough. I really don't think anyone was overly deserving of Player of the Week this week. If I had to pick one, I mean, personally, it's got to be Jamey Swayman. The team played so poorly at the beginning of the week, and he, kept it. We said it earlier. He kept them in the games. He could have been a lot worse, depending on how he played, because they didn't leave him out to dry, but they definitely didn't do him any favors. So they could have gotten their doors blown off, but they didn't. So I am going Jamey Swayman.
I'm going to do the same on the same principle as you. It was hard to find anyone else deserving of it this week, especially with those 2 losses. The only shining spot out of that week was Jamey. Right now, he actually stands at a 2.97 goals against average and a 0.9 save percentage. But I think that's gonna quickly go up. For at least us here as the hosts of the podcast, I believe that is a sweep of the Bruins Player of the Week. So let's rattle off that goal horn real quick.
You want to.
I'm going to rattle off. These guys are guests. These guys are guests. They don't know.
All right.
I'm calling official. We're going to
That
run the board.
is our second of the season sweep of the Big Bad Bruin of the week.
Yeah, at least for the guys here at the podcast. At least for the guys here at the podcast. But we'll get your guys' opinions too. Let's start with Quinn. Quinn, who was your Big Bad Bruin?
It's really tough because the entire team really did not play very good this week. But I'd probably give it to Beecher. I mean, you can't deny out of the entire team, I think the fourth line's been one of the best lines on the team.
Hart Trophy winner, John freaking Beecher, William Jennings,
Norris Trophy, Lady
everything.
King, Johnny Beecher,
Mark Messier Leadership Award.
I love that pick.
Awesome.
That entire fourth line, the entire fourth line, I feel like is carrying most of the team because a lot of the lines haven't been playing like they should be. Like the first hasn't been as good as normal. They've been a little shaky.
No, I mean, he has a point to that. What is it? A couple weeks ago, we said out of a possible, I think, 33 points at the time the Bruins had, the fourth line comprised like 17 of those 33 total combined points. So that, I mean, they were carrying the team. So that's an understatement. That's a fourth line. So no, it's a good pick. Hart winner, Art Ross winner, Johnny fucking Beecher, baby. Jackson, who did you have, big guy?
It's kind of basic, but I said David Pastrnak. I think he's been a good goal scorer this week, and he's been a really good player for the Bruins. So I feel like that's why he's my Big Bad Bruin.
It's not a bad pick.
Truthfully, he should be in contention every week.
He should.
He should be in contention every week. He should be playing that role. And it's been a slow start.
He's honestly, to be honest with you, when we think of the Big Bad Bruin of the week, you think of a player that's the standard, right? Like your standard guy that you should be comparing to. So, I mean, to me, it's David Pastrnak. It's like Brad Marchand, like, those kinds of players.
McAvoy.
Like, I don't think he's actually won the Big Bad Bruin of the week lately, which is kind of surprising.
No.
He's been a little down.
He could do better.
Yeah, he could do better. He needs to get his offensive game going, fellas. But I think, outside of that, he's still our lockdown defenseman. When the defense is not letting people walk in on Swayman or Korpisalo. But I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. All right, fellas, Vogel. I think that also leads us into the bear down.
So as you guys all know, in addition to the Big Bad Player of the Week, we also have the Bear Down Player, which usually all members of our podcast vote on the player that needs to step up, the guy who hasn't played to his potential for the past week. And this week, pick a name out of a hat. But I want to go with Morgan Geekie. I don't think he started off the year real well. I was really high on him this past week. He has not played, I think, to his potential. As we said before, they just waived Tufte, potentially making room for Johnson or another call up. And honestly, I mean, I don't think that he deserves it yet by any stretch. But I do think that if he keeps playing down like this, we're flirting with, trying to have to make that decision of if you have to move somebody. And it might be him, and I don't want it to be. I like Geekie. I thought he was one of the guys I was real big on at the beginning of the year. But this past week, and maybe that was just a fluke to start the year. But I've been saying "but" a lot.
But
I don't think that he played well this week.
I'm going to echo that with Geekie, but he's not my pick. But by the way, did you know that last night there was the St. Louis Blues, I think, scout or GM that was at TD Garden watching the game?
I did not.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? So it kind of puts some questions in the back of my head and be like, are they aiming to trade somebody?
That's also a possibility too. I mean, these guys that have been, the players that need to step up. We're talking about getting waived, getting sent down to the AHL. I mean, who knows? I'm just going to say "but" again. who knows if they're going to get put into a trade package if the team keeps playing the way they do and they need to make some moves.
But no, hey, for me, if we trade with St. Louis, it's Jake Neighbors or bust for me. That's it. We're not going to get him. We're not getting him.
No
but whatever. Yeah, give me Geeky for give me Neighbors for Geeky, and then call Don Sweeney the like the Don of trades.
Yeah.
No, but for me, it's going to be Trent Frederick. He had a career year last year, and I was kind of surprised that he's not stepping up to what he kind of needs to be right now. In all honesty, before the Toronto game, I felt everyone kind of needed to step up and become better, because I think this team is not performing to the caliber which I believe that they can be, especially what the expectations were set for them this previous year. I would like to see Trent, get on the board a bit more than he is right now. I know he's a third line guy, but I mean, historically, in the past couple of years, he's been doing nothing but improve. So I think he needs to build upon that and start going back down to simplifying his game and maybe pucks one in the net. I think he got a point last night, if I'm not mistaken. I think he assisted off the Brazeau goal, but I'm not positive on that.
That sounds right, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah. But a little bit more out of him. I need a little bit more out of him. To our two awesome guests down there that are just hanging out, Jackson, why don't you tell me who you think should improve?
This might be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm gonna have to say Brazeau. I know he's been doing all right, but I think, in my opinion, maybe I would like to see him get the puck a little bit more and have a little bit more shots. I feel like I know he had those good goals, but I feel like he could do a little more,
I don't hate that. I just think that's not Brazeau's style. I think he's more of that net front presence, but I think I'll agree with you in the sense, like, when that puck lands on his stick in the net front, he's 6'4", 6'5", something like that. I think he needs to manage that puck a little bit better, especially with a guy on his size. But I don't hate that take. I just don't think he's that guy that kind of carries it forward. You know what I mean? Yeah. Quinn, what do we got?
I kind of have three guys who I honestly just don't think are what they should be. Like, as you said, Trent Frederick, he's a really good player, in my opinion. I think he could be, if he puts everything together, honestly, a first-line player. Might be a little bit of a hot take. But you also got to point out Lindholm and McAvoy.
That is a boiling hot take to say Trent Frederick could be a first-line player, but okay. I'm here for it.
He has everything you need out of a forward, though. He's chippy. He can score if he needs to. Can make plays. Pretty decent on defense, too. He's got it all. He just has to put it all together. And I also got to point out Lindholm and McAvoy. They're both two really, really good defensemen, and they're honestly probably our best defensemen. Not right now, they haven't been, but they both just haven't been good offensively, and Lindholm hasn't been the best defensively either.
I actually like the Lindholm pick.
Lindholm's probably the biggest one, though.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there on Lindholm. I think he certainly needs to step up for sure. I think he had a good week, not last week, but the week before. I think he started showing spurts of where he was before, or his first year in Boston here. McAvoy, without a doubt, does, but I feel like I'd be beating the dead horse to kind of pick on him. But I think he is doing somewhat of his job defensively, but I think not used to that. Like, I want to see a McAvoy bomb from the point, dude. I need to see a rocket, go into the net, because we all know that they're capable. No, good. That's a good pick. I don't know, but as much as I love Trent Frederick, he's no John Beecher. That guy's going all the way. Man.
Tough to be, dude.
Tough to be. It's the first round pick.
Or Beecher.
Probably. Sure? Probably or Beecher Gretzky, right? Like, that's probably where we'll put him.
Yeah. Well, apparently it's Frederick or who knows?
In terms of like greatest players of all time, we're gonna put Trent Frederick, greatest guy of all time ever to play.
But the Bruins, honestly, the Bruins are only as good as they are because of their depth. with guys like Beecher, guys with Frederick, and their depth have been showing, but the top lines haven't been there. They kind of got to show up a little bit more.
Now that
I agree with that one.
That is a good take. Yeah, nope. We've said it many times, Quinn, here on the show that we think that the depth can't just do it all, but the top 9 at times has been absent. Hasn't just been the third and fourth line, but just the fourth line. It's sometimes like you said. So no, that's a good take. I'm not going to argue with that. All right, guys. Well, before we wrap it up and before we go to the week ahead, we actually had some questions for you guys. You guys growing up, you guys were fans of hockey. We just want to know who your favorite hockey player was growing up.
You want to go first?
Sure.
Yeah, and we are about to feel so old.
I'm going to have to say.
They're all going to be like Patrice Bergeron. I'm going to be like, damn, I'm like Ray Bourque.
Yeah, my favorite Bruin, actually, I'm going to have to say Ray Bourque. He was a superstar athlete, I think.
Yeah, you remember watching him? Yeah.
No.
Waking up on a Saturday.
That don't matter. I love that pick.
He was a good Bruins player, and he might be maybe one of the best of all time. Maybe.
No, I think on NHL's top 100, I think he was in the top 50. I think he cracked the top 50.
Oh, I think he should. If not,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's a top 15 defenseman of all time.
No, just in general, I think they put him as a top 50 just player in terms of like goalie, defenseman, and forward. I think they had him in the top 50. Yeah, he like Bobby Orr redefined what it meant to be a defenseman. I think that's a good pick. Yeah, big fan of Ray. All right, Quinn, what do you got?
There was 2 really guys I really loved. It was Pavel Datsyuk and Milan Lucic.
Okay, maybe we aren't going to feel that old. That was good. I don't know how I feel about the second pick. I don't know how I feel about that second.
Yeah, all things considered, he was an impact player for. I mean, again, we know.
I'm saying Lucic during like his Bruins days, not right now.
Oh yeah, we understood that. Yeah,
the Datsyuk pick, I love it. Did not expect that.
Yeah, that was wow. That kind of gets me back to like, do you remember Datsyuk and Zetterberg as that line, dude? That was a good line. Those two together, man. Oh, back when the Red Wings were probably virtually unstoppable. That was a good team. You guys don't even know that. How do you guys even remember these?
I got to be honest. Impressive. I did not expect those, but though I like that.
I was expecting like maybe like Bergeron, McDavid, Bedard, McCarr, like all of that. No, that's impressive.
He was drafted last year.
Doesn't matter, guys. Great, he's the greatest. He's going to be Gretzky's record. I was thinking Ovechkin, Crosby, like some of those guys, like the common ones.
He's too small to get that record. Bedard, I think he's too small. He's going to be.
He's not going to hit it. McDavid might sniff Gretzky's record, might sniff it, but I don't think he's going to break it. It's at that point.
Look at Ovechkin, how long he's been in the league and how good he's been, and he's just now creeping up on it.
I'm thinking points. I mean that record is no one's going to touch it.
Nobody will ever touch that points record ever.
But I think McDavid will at least get a sniffing range. He'll get in sniffing range.
No way. There's no shot.
No shot.
Nope.
He'd have to play 100 years to beat that.
Oh, I don't know about that. McDavid's pretty good, but I think
David's
he'd be the only
pretty
player.
Good. Yeah. For points all time, number 2 is Jaromir Jagr. He has 1,900. He has 1,921. Gretzky has more assists than Jagr has complete points. There is no.
And Jagr's played for like 100 centuries.
Exactly. So Gretzky has 1,963 assists alone, not counting the close to 900 goals that he had.
I know. Gretzky has like 2,800 total NHL points or something like that. I know. I'm very well aware of what his accolades are.
2,857.
Okay, we're going to be exact. But
all right.
He might sniff it. I'm not saying it's going to be a close sniff, but like maybe it's not going to be a scratch and sniff. It's going to be like something's cooking in the window like next door. All right, like you know what I mean. Like that's what I'm thinking. All right, guys. Well, why don't you guys join us for the week look ahead, where we're going to kind of just go over the next week's games and the opponents, and then we're just going to basically say either win or loss. If you guys want to say why you think that is, you guys can give us a brief description. So why don't we start with we got Tuesday on the 29th, the Philadelphia Flyers come to Boston. Jackson, do you think that's going to be a win or a loss?
I think that might be a loss with the way the Bruins have been playing so far.
Can we get a like a thing on that? Oh man, boo! All right, Quinn.
He's
what do you
entitled
think?
to it.
I think it's going to have to be a win. I mean, they haven't, even with how bad the Bruins have honestly been, the Flyers are way worse. And if the top six decides to show up, fourth line plays as it's been, they got a really good shot of beating them.
Yeah, Vogel.
I said it before. I hope this Toronto win, lights a fire under them. And I'm gonna go with a win. I'm gonna go with a win against the Flyers. You said it before. No offense to Alex over at Flyer Gonna Flyer on the Don't Puck with Media.
Fuck you, Alex.
And YouTube. I say that with full offense intended. Philadelphia Flyers suck.
Yeah,
if they don't win this game, and not to jump ahead, the Saturday game, it's disgraceful.
Is it disgraceful, or is it just I mean, they're a rebuilding team, right? Like that's what it's going to be. I mean, I have the Flyers as a win too, just because I think that's it. I don't know. They have so many questions in net, dude. The Bruins have the net battle won. I think the defense is better. The offense, I'm going to do a toss up until our offense can prove consistency. But I think we have 2 out of 3 accolades there, so I think the Bruins need to come out for that. And don't undermine them. You cannot sleep on them.
Yeah, they're coming off they're playing Montreal right now. We're recording this on Sunday night. So they're playing Montreal right now, but they are coming off a hot win against a team that I forget. I think they scored like 8 goals.
Wild. The Minnesota Wild.
Yes. Yeah, that was crazy. That was wild.
It was a wild game. But
As of now, it's in the second period. It's at the end of the second period, and it's 4-1 Montreal.
Oh, see, and that's a problem. So Alex is probably
a great game.
Alex is probably going crazy. All right, so why don't we go to Thursday against the Carolina Hurricanes down in Raleigh?
Why don't you start us off with that one?
Oh, that's gonna be a loss. I think it's gonna be a loss. I think Rob Brindamore has had kind of the Bruins number for a while, and I think Frederick Anderson is playing that game. I think he's going to come out pretty strong. I think they need a couple wins. Do you know if Brent Burns is back? I know he took a puck off the neck. I think he's fine. I think he was fine, but when I saw that, I just never knew if he was actually out.
I honestly don't know. I have to check.
I only think it's a loss because I think I think they're a little bit of a deeper team on the forward front. Although they did lose a lot of players. The defensive front is a toss-up, kind of depends on who shows up. I think we do have them at goaltender, but again, that is also going to stem from who shows up on defense. Quinn.
I feel like if the team plays like they're going to play and they finally step up and play like a team they should be able to beat Carolina. But if they're playing like they have last week, then no chance they beat them.
Solid. Jackson.
I think they're gonna win. I think they're just gonna become better by that time. I think they're just gonna come out overall. I think it's gonna be by a wide margin too.
That's a wide margin. I think that's a bold take. I don't know if it'll be a wide margin. I think that game will be a very good defensive bout, if anything, if anything. But who knows? You have them losing against Philly, but winning against Carolina.
Yeah.
That's
it's been a weird season.
What you want.
Yeah, it's true.
My take.
And then for Saturday, the 2nd of November. Christ, we're already in November, guys. That's kind of wild. We play the Flyers in the Wells Fargo Center.
I'll lead us off with it again, and I'm gonna say that's gonna be another W. Just be no reason whatsoever. Just fuck Alex. But no, I think the Bruins are just a better team than Philadelphia, and I think they need to just prove it and pound their shit in the ice. And so that's just it. But like I said, Bruins can't sleep on them. They can't just think it's going to be an easy win, because then it's not going to be. Vogel.
I'm going to start off by saying I think Carolina is going to be a win, because Cam didn't let me answer that one.
Oh, my bad.
Whatever. I was going to let you keep going, but I'm going to go with a win in Carolina. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go with another win in Philly. I'm going clean sweep this week. Back on the horse. Stanley Cup back on.
Oh shit! Did I really not let you go? Oh, now I feel bad.
Oh, just check the tape. Whatever.
Hey, if it helps, I've been drinking before this, so I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but
that does not make it better.
No, it doesn't. Okay, Quinn, what do you got?
Well, November 2nd is my birthday, and I have the Irish luck on our side, so I think it's 100% going to be a win, no question. And the Flyers suck, so that's a win. Every luck that can be on your side is on your side right now.
He's got the Irish luck, the Flyers suck, and the Bruins rock, baby. That's Quinn's motto. Oh my God, Jackson, what do you what do you have?
A win. I'm taking win. You know,
okay. The win. Any reason why?
They're the Bruins.
We're the Bruins. All right.
The Flyers suck.
And the Flyers suck. All right.
Guys, very special thank you to Quinn and Jackson. Thank you guys for showing up. We hope that you enjoyed this piece of fan engagement that we love doing with you guys. So some great analyses. Definitely love some of the picks, especially with Johnny Beecher. Praise. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna say goodbye to you guys for the night. But thank you for joining, and continue listening, and thanks for staying.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You.
All right.
See you guys.
And with that being said, I believe that does it for the rest of us here at Hibruination. And Vogel, why don't you take us out?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe to Don't Puck with Media. Check out Hibruination.com, the home of Hibruination, where we have content we're posting. We have blogs going up all week, in between games, during games, after games. You can find the podcast there. We're gonna have stuff up there for you all year. Don't forget to send us your hate mail, your fan mail, either via DM or the voice memo link in our Twitter bio for a chance to be played on the episode. And that's it. We love you guys. And until next time, go Bruins.
Go Bruins, boys.